I'm at Hawthorne Park downtown. I've got the speaker box all paired up to Tusk e-collar so you can hear the work that I'm doing with him. There's a lot of commotion, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of dogs. We just got here. I'm going to start by getting him all tuned in with me in the field, and then I'll probably have to edit this video and put clips together for you to make it fluid, because it's hard to capture everything on a small camera, but I'm gonna just start exposing him to people and stimulus. But first I gotta tune him in with me and make sure he's paying attention to his handler. So one of the ways what I'm doing is I'm basically watching him, and the second he starts to pull his attention somewhere other than me, I stop and go the other way. That's what I'm doing right now. Got a person coming. Good job, bud. How are you?
Good morning.
Good job, Tusk. I don't know if you can see, but there's the guy. He did really, really well. So I'm not worried about Tusk making a mistake, right? And I'm not worried about, oh, I need to force him here. You stay right here, buddy. He knows how to do all this, so it's just a matter of exposing him and making sure that we go back to the old way where we're not worried about something popping out of the bushes and attacking us, and that way he doesn't have to worry about that either. Here. Tusk, come.
What kind of dog is that?
He is a Saint Bernard mix.
Oh, he's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm not his owner. I'm actually making a video for his owner.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
He has
Well,
a history, I guess he's really kind of started to get weird about people.
oh, okay.
And since he's so big, it's like,
He's
needs some
beautiful.
grace. Isn't he awesome?
Look at that face.
I normally would let you pet him, but
That's okay.
he gets kind of weird about people,
Yeah.
so just
Yeah.
trying to.
That's okay.
But this is helpful, because he gets to see you and not feel
And not-
threatened by it.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
So you're helping.
I'd like to have a picture of him.
Oh,
Yeah?
oh, here.
Sure, go ahead.
I don't know.
Here, let me get the picture of.
That's it. You're being a good boy, Tusk.
That also.
Yes, you are. You're so sweet.
He is. He's just scared. It's hard to see it right now
Isn't
because
that
he's being super
strange?
good.
He
Well,
never
he was
wa-
attacked
Oh,
by a dog,
Oh.
and then he associated people with that. So now he's.
Oh, that. Wait, I got a good picture.
Did you?
Yeah.
beautiful.
He is.
What's his
Oh,
name?
Tusk.
Tusk. That's cute. But he's pretty good temperament, isn't he?
I think so. I don't think he's really that aggressive. I don't think he's aggressive, honestly. I think he's just terrified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So just trying to reintroduce him into public and set good examples.
good.
So this is really helpful.
Gosh, I've never
Good.
seen anything like this.
I
funny because I'm a dog trainer. I work with all kinds of dogs. I've never had so many people stop and go,
What is that? Yeah.
So, thank you. We're giving him a big head. It's perfect.
Yeah.
He needs it.
He's beautiful.
You need it for
Well,
confidence.
enjoy your day.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a great day. Great job, buddy. Really good job. So again, he knows how to do that. You've done it 100 times. It's just a matter of not worrying about all the negative stuff that he's been through. Kind of starting to let that go. Well, almost every video I've attempted to make for you here at the park has not been exactly what I wanted it to look like. A couple times I recorded the wrong direction. It's hard to get a good angle. I'm trying to capture these moments, but it seems like everyone's going the opposite way I want them to, and finding angles is hard and all that kind of stuff. But then I was hoping I caught this on video, but I was recording the opposite way. I'm at this park, Hawthorne Park, which, you know, it should be an on-leash park. It should be safe. And some idiot decided that their dog needed to potty, so they took their dog off leash. Now, I work a lot in this department. I get off-leash dogs running at me all the time. So for me, my first instinct was to create space from the off-leash dog instead of sitting there and staring at it and letting Tusk sit there and stare at it and get himself all worked up. Hey, bud, hang out with me, okay? And, you know, because if I just stand there and just, or freak out and run away, either of those is not a good response. I just very calmly walked the other way, and that allowed him not to sense any worry in me, and then also create space so this off-leash dog doesn't see me. The other thing I wanted to tell you about is I will carry this air horn around. It's super small, it's easy to carry in your pocket, it's really, really loud, and you can set it off if you see an off-leash dog coming at you, and that sound is startling to them, so they'll oftentimes turn and go the other way. You can also carry a stun gun on you. I obviously don't want to use a stun gun on a dog. I never have, but it also emits a loud crackling electric noise that might help you deter a dog from getting to you. And then also, if the dog does get to you, you know, I hate for you to tase it, but we're dealing with a situation where we're advocating for ourselves and our dog, and so being socially friendly to an off-leash dog is not really, I don't really care. Right, I'm going to get your dog off me. If you can't control your dog, I'm going to tase it. So I hate to do that, and I don't like to do that to dogs. I've actually never tased a dog personally, but I will have no qualms in doing that if I have to, because I'm going to advocate for my dog. So that's an option for you as well. But I just wanted to tell you that we did see an off-leash dog today. It did not run at us. Tusk has not barked or freaked out about any form of stimulus. I'm sitting here it's off of 4th and Gunnison on Hawthorne Park. I've probably seen about 25 people and about 5 dogs. Lots of bikes, lots of traffic, lots of noise. He's awesome. He's absolutely awesome. You know, this is a dog that's nervous naturally. Even without your influence, he's a nervous dog. I see that a lot in poodles. I've actually seen that a lot in St. Bernards, believe it or not. I do believe that sometimes powerful breeds like St. Bernards and Great Danes tend to have more nervous tendencies, and that's actually because that's what helps them be a guard dog. You need, for a guard dog to do its job, you need them to be apprehensive and question things, and I feel like that's exactly what he does. Poodles are kind of the same way, but they're more neurotic about their behavior when they exhibit it, so I think that's where I get like a lot of squirreliness and hyperactivity. So, but basically, I'm going to get up here and do some more basic steps and pair the e-collar with it, which, by the way, he's been between a 2 and an 8 in the park, which you didn't even feel it, I think, until you were like in the 20s or 30s or something like that. So just to kind of give you an idea of how I'm using the e-collar, how gentle it is, and how actually quickly it is to communicate with him and get kind of, it's almost like being able to reach out and touch him and say, hey bud, I know you're worried about this, but I need you to bring your attention back to me, without yelling or screaming or popping the leash. Like, there's no corrections involved in this. So that's beneficial for a dog who's nervous and kind of scared about stimulus. Let's see if I can just... Gosh, it just never fails that I can't capture anything on camera. All right. So, some of the work I'm going to have you guys focus on might be a bit different from what you're used to doing in your training classes and stuff. So, when I'm in situations where a dog is fearful, I don't want to actually sit there and let them stare at things, at least not in their first initial phases of training. So what I'm doing right now is not what I'm going to probably even have you do right when he comes home. Part of the reason is because you have to reestablish yourself and you guys have to get back into a groove. Right? So that's one reason. You have a lot of rebuilding to do. But the other reason is you see this state of mind? I mean, this is what all St. Bernards do. He's literally, and I mean, all dogs do this. I shouldn't even point to a breed specific thing. This is what dogs do, right? But when you have a dog who's reactive and showing signs of aggression, it's not about putting them in sit stays and creating an obedience command out of it. It's actually about making sure that their mind is in the right place. If I can get a dog's mind in the right place, then obedience can look like this, what you're seeing right now. But you guys have to get your head on straight. So what I'm going to suggest is that you don't allow him to, this is all prey drive stuff right now. He's just composing himself with me because we've worked hard on this over the last 2 weeks, right? You see, and all this like head twitching back and forth is nervousness. He does it real quick too. What was that? What was that? What was that? And he's kind of on his guarding post right now a little bit. Typically I would be moving a dog more and changing direction more if they were perking up like this, but has composed himself so well today. I'm letting him go through it a little bit. Buddy, you got a little mat on your mouth. Got a mat right there. All right, so we got a dog coming, so I'm going to start working him. He's more worried about dogs than he is people. Basically, what I'm going to be doing is trying to keep his attention on me. There is a dog literally right behind the camera right here. And you can see he's much more worked up about it. Come here. So, and I see that he wants to lock on to this dog, and you can see how his head actually pops up. He's showing concern by popping his head upward. I'm going to actually back up. Good. And then regroup him with me. I'm going to come back and see how he responds to the stimulus again. And I'm going to repeat. Good. So, if he locks onto the dog and doesn't follow me directly backwards, then I know that his attentiveness is more towards the dog. What I see with Tusk is I take about 3 or 4 steps back, and then he's like, oh shit, where'd you go? I lost my handler, I need to turn around. There was no e-collar or direction involved in this. This is just physical motions I've put into play where I'm basically teaching him, hey, if you stay in that state of mind like you are in right now, this very stoic, intense guardian mode, I'm actually not going to join you in this. Good. Yeah. I'm basically saying I'm not going to be a part of that equation. I refuse to join you in that state of mind. So I remove myself. Hey, bud, I know. He really doesn't like collars and stuff on him. He's always kind of irritated. So by saying, hey, I'm not going to engage with you when you're in that state of mind, when he comes back on his own, That's his way of saying, I don't really want to be in that state of mind. I don't really want to face this stimulus by myself. I'm actually kind of nervous about it. A lot of times dogs will stay out there for a long time and I have to redirect them back to me, which is what I had to do when I first got him. Now he's learned all the motions and all the commands and all the movements. And I think he's also realized that I'm not about to play into his BS. He has got to come back to me and be a part of my pack. So I'm basically saying, hey, come back over here. Hey, bud, get into pack drive. Get lined up with your handler again. And let's see if you can't look at that dog in a way that's a little bit more productive. And although that dog has come and gone, he did. So this is one way in which I handle the sight of stimulus. And we've gone over this. Come on, bud. He's on a 2, by the way. The other thing you can do, especially if the situation needs a faster response, like I have lots of space here in the park, so I can create a lot of space from dogs and things that concern him. Let's go. The other thing you can do if you need something to happen really quickly so he doesn't escalate is actually just turn into him. Let's go. By turning left into him, you actually you actually block his ability to fixate and load. So that's another way to prevent him escalating with his reactivity. Go. When I'm working him and whether there's anything going on or not, I'm basically going to see where his attentiveness is towards me. Hi. Over here. And anytime I feel like that attentiveness goes somewhere else and it doesn't stick with me, let's go. I change direction. And I do a multitude of direction changes. I don't just do a right turn like this every time. I like to mix it up. I like to keep the dog guessing, because really what I'm supposed to be doing is getting this state of mind, what I just pointed at, which is I'm staring over here at this person walking down the sidewalk. I'm concerned about them. Back to, hey, it doesn't matter. You have nothing to be nervous about. You've got your handler here. Let's just hang out together. So like that. So I could do a right turn, I could do a left turn, I could back up. Let's go. Great job, bud. That's a good boy. So this is how I get these dogs to quit worrying so much. It's not about putting them in a sit or a down. It's not about short leashing them and keeping them close so that you feel like you have physical control. This dog's too big for that. It's about continuing to change direction and keep him engaged with his handler by paying attention to him, looking to see where his attentiveness is, and then change directions accordingly. Let's go. We refer to this as switching drives, right? So when they're all loaded and fixated on something that kind of makes them uncomfortable, they're in prey drive. And when I change direction, he goes into pack drive. And I can tell he's in it because he's staring right at me and looking at me in the eye. So I'm just continuing to build that mentality of, hey, look at me, look how awesome I am. Don't you want to be with me? I love you, buddy. Right? So this is some of the stuff that you're going to be working on, whether there's stimulus present or not, is really giving him, and it can be anywhere. It can be in your backyard, it can be in the front of your house. It doesn't have to be in the midst of a busy park. It can be anywhere where you're just going to start walking, and the second he gets off track, you're going to stop walking. Line him up with you by either turning, backing up and recalling him, or asking him to come back into a here or a heel, as you probably say. and then repeating over and over and over again. So by the time he gets to a more productive phase of training, you can just move forward, and he knows that he needs to keep checking in with you and paying attention to where his handler is. This is going to give you more success when you run into stimulus, because his brain has learned to basically focus on the handler. Now when you're stressed, people have a tendency to lose sight of what they're supposed to be doing. It's the same repetitions whether they're stimulus or not. Get that dog's attention back on you by doing a left turn or backing up and recalling him, and just, you might have to continue to create space if the stress is really high, because he might go over threshold. And so we can close the gap on threshold with time. We can get closer to things that upset him with time, but first he needs to learn how to deal with all the stressors from all ranges, and starting with distance first before we close the gap. So that's how I do it. I also want you to know, as I continue to do repetitions, I want you to see how, what Tusk, he's very pleased to be doing this, whether the e-collar's on or not. He likes it. He likes the mental stimulation. He likes the exposure. He likes the bonding. He's a pack dog. He loves his people. And you can tell from his tail and his demeanor that he's quite happy about doing all this. So the e-collar's not, I'm not punishing him. I haven't said no to him once since he's been here. I poked him once and said, hey, pay attention to me, but I've never yelled at him. I've never gotten upset with him. He's done everything I've wanted him to do. And the e-collar is just a tool to help communicate what I want. Good job, buddy. I kind of like to think of it like a dance. Now we're getting concerned about sirens. So I don't care what the stimulus is, I need to teach him to pay attention to his handler. The less regard he has for me and where I am in proximity to him, the more nervous he is. Let's go. Which means I need to create more movement to capture his attention. So that he can become less nervous and more attentive towards me. Come. Here. Sit. But I like to think about it as a dance where I'm walking and oh, he got off track, let's go. I kind of fluidly move back, let's go. Let's get a left turn just to keep him engaged. I'm kind of always dancing with this guy. He gets off track, I'm like, course direct, let's go. Good job, buddy. There's people walking by, so he got a little bit. What is that about him? Come. This is what you're going to be doing when he first comes home. And when you see, sit. Hi. Whenever you see anything that kind of makes him edgy, those are actually the exact movements that you're going to be doing. And I'm really going to try and encourage you that you're not using the leash to accomplish much of this, and most of it's actually the e-collar, and your leash is loose, because the leash can actually create leash aggression if you don't know how to use it appropriately. And when you're in a situation where you're really stressed, people usually have a tendency to use it the wrong way. So I know you're not that comfortable with e-collars, but you're going to find it's going to get you where you need to get the fastest. And honestly, he's also going to be off-leash reliable. So you'll be able to do things like take him hiking if you like that, or even do off-leash work in certain areas that are safe. You'll be able to control him in your house without a leash. There's lots of benefits to it in the long run. Sorry, I thought some dogs were coming our way. But basically, I don't want you sitting him like this and letting him load on things. I want you to keep moving him and keeping his attention on you. I think this is actually going to help both. I think this is actually going to help both the handler and the dog, because that doesn't allow you to sit there and fixate on things either. You both have to continue to dance with each other so that you can align with each other, and that should take the focus off of the stimulus instead of worrying so much about it. I'm going to take Tusk on a walk around this park. It's about a quarter mile. So I'm just actually going to start walking him instead of just long lining him. And I will try to get videos if they pop up, but man, is it hard while I'm walking, but we'll see. All right, we're on our little walk here, and Tusk is getting real worried about this. These people are laying down over here. Come. See how he perks his head up like that? Good, buddy. So I think he's a little bit just like not understanding why they're laying on the ground like that, but I can tell because he can't stay with me. So if I give him a lot of leash, here, he can't stay with me. He gets so concerned, he pops that head up in that direction, and then if I stop, he just completely goes towards them, right? So he's real nervous about it. That's the way I look at it. Okay. So what I did is I backed up and I said, hey man, I'm not gonna keep walking with you if you're gonna act like that. And so now for probably 4 turns, let's go. He doesn't care anymore. Now he's just staying right with me. And they're right here. Roger. Yeah, let's go. Good. So I feel like what it does is it gives him a chance to assess the situation without escalating and becoming concerned. So the turn prevents him from misinterpreting and processing the information the wrong way. Sit. Sit. Sit down, bud. And it allows him to, like he's smelling right now instead of fixating visually. That gives them a better idea of what's really going on. But that turn keeps them from an escalating point. Multiple turns prevent it from becoming an explosion. And eventually, after every dog's gonna come, sit, sit. Every dog's gonna come down off of the stimulus on their own pace, and depending on the stimulus, it might take longer, but that repetitive turn, redirect, get them back on the handler eventually helps them just go, I guess it's really not that big of a deal. So I'm basically keeping the brain at a state of mind where regardless of how much stress they're under, they can manage processing the environment the way it needs to be. Let's go. Tusk. Tusk, come. Tusk. Sit. This is a big dog and I'm doing several things at once. Hey you. Let's go. Good job, buddy. And so I'm not using a ton of leash to create any of this. I'm using my e-collar mostly. He's been between a 2 and a 4 this walk. Let's go, bud. Still continuing to keep his attention on his handler and turning when I see the level of concern gets him to a point where he struggles like that. Someone spoke, so he goes, oh, that was a big one. So I turned him right away. Said, can you pay attention to me? The harder it is for him to turn back to me and stay with me, the more stressed he is, so the more I need to stay in that moment and work him through it until he's no longer struggling to pay attention to me and stay with me. So hopefully this video was helpful. We gotta go home and take a nap.